Depending on who you ask, Daphne Joy is either another victim of Sean Diddy Combs or one of the most conniving gold diggers in music history.
50 Cent's ex, Daphne Joy, is facing accusations of being Sean Diddy Combs' alleged sex worker in a new lawsuit.
She's definitely one of the most fascinating figures of the Diddy trial, particularly because she's also the baby mama of one of Diddy's biggest enemies, 50 Cent. And Diddy's lawsuits have opened up further wounds about their past relationship.
Actress and OnlyFans model Daphne Joy accused her famous ex of rape and physical abuse in a post to social media last month. But now that ex, who just so happens to be actor and rapper Curtis Jackson, better known as 50 Cent, is firing back and suing Daphne Joy for defamation.
And 50, along with many other people on the internet, has alleged that she's the anonymous victim, Jane Doe, in the Diddy trial.
What did you tell him about your past? I dated someone he knew. It's 50's girlfriend.
But this whirlwind of hate, opinions, and accusations leveled her way. Who exactly is Daphne Joy? The simple reason why Daphne has been connected to hip-hop moguls like 50 and Diddy and even Jason Derulo is because of her looks. In fact, she's been modeling from a very early age.
So I grew up in the Philippines. I was there till I came to America when I was 6.
Wow.
And I'm Filipino Puerto Rican. And I just started modeling when I was like 16. Yeah. And I was like lying that I was like 18.
Really?
In her 20s, she received a big break when she was cast in the 2011 Pirates of the Caribbean movie On Stranger Tides.
There was a casting, and they were looking for like interesting, exotic faces and things like that. And my agent at the time was like, I think you'd be great for this. Just go on in there. And I remember even seeing like behind the scenes footage from that casting, and I was like so shy. Like I was just like in the corner in my bathing suit, like, oh, look at all these beautiful girls. Like I will never ever get this job. Yeah. And then it was my turn to like swim and like do this like seductive scene, and like the next day I got a call like, oh, we chose you. And I was like, what?
Around the same time, she was acquainted with a man who would change her life forever. She began dating 50 Cent, and the couple maintained a relatively private relationship.
Well, me and my ex, 50, we definitely tried to keep our relationship as private as possible. And he was, you know, definitely one of my very high-profile relationship.
Yeah.
But we did good with that. I feel like you can just enjoy each other more organically that way.
This relationship would not work out, but Daphne and 50 would forever be bound together through the birth of their child, Sire.
What's your relationship now like with 50?
It's great. We're friends, and at first it was like, you know, we were both like, okay, so how are we gonna do this? You know, but it works itself out. And I always like say that as long as your main priority is your child and like nothing else, like no personal things, then you're golden, you know?
Despite keeping their initial relationship relatively private, 2013 would mark the first of many vicious feuds between this ex-couple. On June 23rd, LAPD were called to Daphne Joy's condominium in Toluca Lake. When police arrived, they found Daphne alone and claimed that 50 had been inside her home earlier. They were arguing 50 had allegedly started trashing her home and smashed chandeliers, furniture, a television, and a lamp, causing over $7,000 worth of damage. Joy then locked herself in the bedroom, and 50 Cent allegedly kicked down the door and then kicked Daphne. 50 was later charged with DV and vandalism. This would lead to a potential $47,000 fine and, more worrying for 50, 5 years in prison. 50 would plead not guilty and eventually take a plea deal where he pled guilty to a misdemeanor charge of vandalism, and the DV charge was dropped. And while 50 has never been found guilty of DV, there were also accusations from his other ex, Shaniqua Tompkins, in 2014. But by 2015, Daphne had moved on and was now dating another high-profile musician, Jason Derulo.
So, great news. You happen to be in a new relationship with the gorgeous Daphne Joy. Stunning. So happy for you. She is so beautiful.
But 6 months later, they broke up.
So does Jason cry himself to sleep every night after you dumped him? He knows he probably messed up big time, huh?
The next 5 years, Daphne would see her away from the headlines. She would ultimately get known for modeling and her sizable Instagram following.
I don't know, it just started growing. I was just posting, and like people were into it. So I kind of got the groove of it. I like to mix like fashion with sexy, with wholesome, with family, with friends, and not be too much of one thing.
Yeah.
A Daily Mail article about her in 2018 alleges that 50 and Jason Derulo were not the only celebrities she dated, and also listed the R&B singer Tyrese Gibson and Rob Kardashian. But the article also romantically connected her to the businessman Peter Nygaard, who was 47 years older than her and has quite a shady past. To cut a long story short, he was essentially the Diddy of the fashion world, where he would later be exposed for assault, abuse, and trafficking. However, Daphne's connection with Nygaard is difficult to 100% confirm. What is known is that at some age, she swapped the LA lifestyle for New York. It was here that she would be dating another high-profile celebrity, but this time a well-known rival of 50 Cent. And whether she realized it or not, she would find herself involved with an incredibly dangerous and unstable man. In June of 2021, photos surfaced of Daphne Joy holding hands with Sean Diddy Combs. As expected, the internet was dying to know what 50's response was to this recent revelation, but to his credit, 50's response was uncharacteristically mature. He wrote on Instagram, "Nah, me and Puff fight over business-ish. If he liked the girl, he liked the girl. I don't give a F." However, in September of 2022, Daphne posted footage of herself at the iHeart Music Festival where Diddy was performing. And this prompted 50 to put out a post that was a bit more true to his character. Alongside a picture of himself and his son Sire, he wrote, "Oh shoot, that's your mommy over there with Puffy. LOL, remember what I told you the other day. These chicks be crazy, SMH. Daphne would respond in the comment section, "Please stop doing this to me. I never bother you and I'm an outstanding mother to your son. Can we just focus on that, please?" However, it was just over a year later in November of 2023 that it became clear that there was a much darker and deviant side to Sean Diddy Combs. Diddy's long-term girlfriend Cassie would make allegations, and Diddy would immediately settle this lawsuit the day after it was filed. It was this desperation to put out the fire that only led to further speculation. As 2023 came to a close, more and more lawsuits would come out of the woodwork, all with the running theme that Diddy was an incredibly violent and abusive man. And it was in February of 2024 that a lawsuit relating to Diddy would also contain the name of Daphne Joy. On February 26, 2024, Diddy was sued by the music producer Lil Rod, who accused Diddy of making unwanted contact and of forcing him to hire escorts and participate in acts with them. And within these papers, 50 Cent's baby mama would be name-dropped. The lawsuit read, "Robin Greenhill, the accountant, would ensure the wiring, funds, transfer, or cash payments to S-workers. Frankie Santella, Moy Bond, Brendan Paul, and KK would also be responsible for ensuring payment to S-workers in cash. Young Miami, Jade, and Daphne Joy were paid a monthly fee to work as Mr. Combs' S-workers and receive payment via wire transfer from Robin Greenhill, which outlines defendant's ongoing criminal operation." This is the only mention of her name in the lawsuit. The documents also claim that Diddy provided laced alcoholic beverages to those S-workers, and during this time, Mr. Jones was forced to solicit S-workers and perform S-acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs. Another worrying allegation from this lawsuit was that there were many girls present that were not supposed to be there. Daphne immediately responded to this revelation with a statement reading, "I'm deeply hurt by the lies in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. The claim that I am a S-worker is 100% false and character assassination. I'm retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against both Rodney and his attorney." Young Miami and Jade Ramey would similarly refute these allegations. Diddy, for what it's worth at this stage, also denied them too. Ultimately, the lawsuit claimed that Diddy wired these women with their money, so there could be a financial trail of all these payments somewhere. While many people would consider the words escort and S-worker to mean the same thing, the lawsuit seems to imply that escorts were the women Diddy would hire for one night, and S-workers were people he would provide a monthly stipend to. With these alleged women, there seemed to be some sort of gray area where the lawsuit refers to them as S-workers, where the women themselves would claim to be Diddy's girlfriends, albeit with a huge transactional component.
Okay, if you are having sex with a rich dude, right? Mm-hmm. He giving you money anyway. It's a sugar daddy situation. So like sex worker, that's a bit crazy. Now, if you look at it in a whole, it's how you look at it. You look at it in a whole nother light. Okay, trips, bags, all that. Daphne was messing with him at one point. Young Miami was messing with him at one point. They get awarded for messing with him.
What Daphne probably expected was for 50 Cent to troll her online. And true to form, 50 tweeted, "I didn't know you was a S-worker, you little S-worker." What she probably didn't expect was for 50 to take things much further. A news story emerged that 50 Cent was seeking sole custody of their son Sire. 50 then confirmed this and posted a news story about this decision with the caption, "It is what it is. See you in family court, S-worker." In a follow-up post, 50 claimed that the real reason she moved back to New York was to get back with him. "You moved a mile away in hopes of having another baby with me, but I was busy. So you moved back and then you started receiving money from Brother Love, or Diddy. Now here we are, little S-worker." Clearly, these posts had understandably struck a nerve with Joy, and she responded. And for the second time, she would make incredibly serious allegations about 50 Cent. Daphne sent out a lengthy Instagram post beginning with, "Everything is a joke to you until our safety is compromised, which is happening now. You are wreaking real havoc, frenzy, and chaos onto people's lives." She then dropped the allegation that 50 Cent has been spending barely any time with his son. "We moved to New York to give you the opportunity to be a father to your son, and you saw him 10 times out of the 2 years that we lived 1 mile away from you. I'm tired of upholding and protecting an image to our son that you have never even earned." But these allegations of being a deadbeat dad were soon overshadowed by what came next. "Let's put the real focus on your evil actions of graping me and abusing me. You are no longer my oppressor, and my God will handle you from this point on. You have permanently damaged the last hope I had for you as a father to preserve our family with these last and final false claims made against me. You have broken our hearts for the last and final time." These accusations were immediately denied by 50, who released a statement arguing that these allegations are only coming out now because he is threatened to take full custody of their son. The disturbing allegations in the sworn pleadings recently filed in a court case related to Daphne Joy, the mother of my 12-year-old child, has required me to take all unnecessary legal actions to protect my son Sire. The most recent false and baseless accusations by Daphne Joy are clearly in response to my decision to seek sole custody of my son. My son Sire is my main priority, and keeping him in a safe environment is my only focus at this time. While she clearly wanted to damage 50's reputation, the timing of these allegations made her claims less credible.
I wonder how serious will people take her allegations after when something like this goes down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because 50 is seeking full custody of his son,
Yep.
and then she comes with that allegation. So it just seems like I'm saying this because I don't want you to get full custody of my son.
Yeah.
So I wonder how serious will the court take those.
By May, this post had still not been taken down, forcing 50 to up the ante and sue Daphne for defamation. His lawsuit said that Daphne Joy knows that Jackson did not grape or physically harm her, yet she knowingly published false statements to her almost 2 million followers on Instagram. Narvaez, or Daphne Joy, published a defamatory post and refuses to remove it out of sheer hatred and ill will towards Jackson. His team also said that when Daphne was asked to take it down, her legal team asked for millions of dollars. And interestingly, her legal team also used this as leverage against him for the custody lawsuit. According to the LA Times, the filing includes an April 2nd letter from Jackson's team demanding a retraction. His attorneys claimed that Narvaez's lawyers responded by insisting that he give her millions of dollars and drop his custody lawsuit in return for her taking down the post, demands that the lawsuit called clearly extortive in nature. Ultimately, if this went to court, the DV allegations leveled against 50 would be finally tested against a judge and jury.
This is much like any time you get in a defamation case, these are he said, she said battles. She claims online that he assaulted her. He denies that, and he has a right to bring a defamation claim in court. She has a right to speak her mind, and eventually, if the case continues on, a jury will decide who's right.
While all of this was happening, Daphne would be named in a subpoena alongside Diddy in relation to hotel rooms booked in Miami. By September, 50 would request to have his lawsuit against Daphne dropped, but with the option to refile it in the future. Daphne also removed her Instagram post, and 50 Cent removed his posts about her. Several days after dropping this case, 50's rival Diddy was in deep trouble and arrested in a Manhattan hotel room after a grand jury indictment. Allegations against Diddy had now escalated from civil to criminal and from state level to federal. He faced charges of racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, and transportation to engage in. By 2025, Daphne would become a topic of conversation once again. However, this would arise not from anything she had said or done, but what she had been alleged to have said and done. In one of the most dramatic moments of the Diddy trial, a former girlfriend under the name Jane Doe took to the stand, and Diddy and many others have claimed that Jane Doe and Daphne Joy are the same person. On Thursday, June 5th, Jane Doe spoke for her first day at the trial. During her time on the stand, Jane spoke about some of the infamous freak-offs that took place.
She was in love with Diddy, so in love with him, in a lust-filled relationship, full of Molly, ecstasy, sometimes ketamine, having these freak-offs, but they call them debauchery or like wild nights. And so far, she said she willingly participated because she loved him so much.
What supposedly lifted the veil on her identity has been the Twitter account Inner City Press, who had been tweeting most of the court statements. When asking Jane about when she met Diddy, the prosecutor asked, "What did you tell him about your past?" And her response was, "I dated someone he knew." Then she elaborated, "Also, my child's father didn't get along with Sean. He said he didn't mind." This prompted this reaction from DJ Academics.
What did you tell him about your past? I dated someone he knew. It's 50's girlfriend. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's 50's. That's 50's bitch up there, chat. So also, my child's father didn't get along with Sean. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's Diddy. It's Diddy's bitch. No.
This revelation also led to 50 Cent posting on Instagram, "Hey, does anyone know who Jane Doe is? I'm trying to research for the Diddy doc." He also showed the courtroom sketch of Jane Doe up alongside a photo of Daphne. He then posted a picture of him and Sire, their son, with the caption, "WTF?" There are other details from the testimony that would suggest that this could be Daphne. They're roughly the same age, both have birthdays in February, have roughly the same timeline that they were together with Diddy, but I'll reveal later on why this may not all the way be the case. All in all, whoever Jane Doe is, this person clearly led a very toxic and disturbing life while in the company of Sean Combs. During the trial, Jane detailed a very horrific incident where an argument ensued about Diddy dating much younger girls. According to a report in USA Today, she had allegedly shoved his head into a marble counter where he'd bent over as if to tie his shoes. Then she started throwing candles and glass. When she'd sensed things would escalate, she'd locked herself in a bedroom, but Combs kicked open several doors. As she tried to flee the house, he picked me up in a chokehold. I couldn't breathe and I was on my tippy toes, she said. She fled 6 blocks away and hid for 2 hours, and when she'd returned home, Combs continued to attack her. Jane Doe also said she flew to Las Vegas with a very successful rapper and his girlfriend, where they watched a male escort and a woman engage in a hotel room, and there's a lot of circumstantial evidence suggesting who this might be.
Obviously, the famous rapper is Ye, and it was Bianca. Her birthday is January 5th. On January 7th and 8th in 2024, where were they? Vegas, celebrating her birthday at a dinner. And guess where they were after that? A strip club.
Obviously, the main culprit in all of this is Diddy, but there are aspects of Jane Doe's behavior that deserve criticism. She was on a $10,000 a month stipend and claimed that she was financially trapped. And while you can sympathize with someone like Cassie, who met Diddy when she was 19, this woman is in her mid-30s and should probably know better. The biggest issue that lost her a lot of public sympathy was when she seemed to complain that Diddy brought her a Bottega bag, but bought another girl a much more expensive Chanel bag. When the attorney asked her how much a Bottega bag costs, she replied with, "How much does my body cost?" If Jane Doe is Daphne Joy, then this makes things even worse, as she is a semi-famous celebrity with over 1.5 million followers on Instagram and should easily be able to carve out a living on her own. Or, worse comes to worse, I'm sure there's an endless supply of less toxic rich guys that would love to date her. And if it ever does come out that she's Jane Doe, this could certainly be used against her in a custody battle. However, the argument that she's Jane Doe may not be fully set in stone. The only aspects that don't add up is when Jane Doe was asked where she grew up and she simply answered with California, and made no mention of her earlier years in the Philippines. This would seem like a strange thing to omit when under oath. If we go back to her Pretty Little Things podcast interview from 2019, this was her response when asked the very same question of where she grew up.
So I grew up in the Philippines. I was there till I came to America when I was 6.
Jane Doe went to junior college and then started modeling. Daphne Joy, meanwhile, was a working model at 16.
I just started modeling when I was like 16, and I was like lying that I was like 18.
Also, there's a slight semantic issue when Jane supposedly referenced 50 Cent. She said, "I dated someone he knew," and then said, "Also, my child's father didn't get along with Sean." You could argue that she's talking about two separate men in these sentences. Diddy's girlfriends probably have also dated other celebrities, and there are a lot of people who did not like Diddy. Many of the lawsuits currently against Diddy are anonymous too, so we still don't even know who all of his girlfriends were. Understandably, Daphne has now been a figure of major speculation across the internet. No Jumper also posted this unverified audio footage of Diddy supposedly talking to Daphne.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know, you think you silent treating me, and you think I'm going to be, nah. You'll have a rude awakening. You'll just have silence.
And her name was also raised on Cameron and Mace's podcast, It Is What It Is. In this incredibly surreal interview, Cameron was interviewing a male escort that Diddy regularly used, known as The Punisher, and Daphne Joy's name was brought up.
Yeah, about 50's baby mom, Daphne, being involved in some of these things. Did you ever Daphne, 50 Cent's baby mother?
Nah, every time I was called or involved in any way, it was only Cassie specifically.
50 Cent posted a clip and captioned it with, "Well, here come the bull-ish. Don't kiss my boy, pee-pee mouth." And at the risk of providing too much information, this was in reference to Diddy's alleged urine fascination. Many people have speculated that 50 was behind Cameron asking this question in the first place. And while Daphne and 50's troubled relationship never properly made it to the courtroom, it looks as if 50 has undoubtedly won in the court of public opinion. As the Diddy trial continues to unfold, time will tell whether Lil Rod's accusations about her were in any way accurate. And looking towards the future, she'll probably wonder if getting involved with another celebrity is really worth it.